Hey everyone, it's Steven from Cold Harbor Supply. I'm joined here by Jeff from Nocturn Industries here at their brand new office that they just moved into. Here just to talk about what's imminent, what's coming for Q4 and going into Q1 as we approach SHOT Show and what to expect there. So quick recap on what's currently existing right now, came out over the past several months or several quarters. We have the Manticore R, full aluminum manual gain control, as well as the Katana R, which is the auto gain. So I'll let you talk a little bit about what's coming down the pipeline for Q4.
Okay, so we announced at the beginning of the year that we'd have an injection molded variant of each of these systems, and that is finally happening. So people are going to start seeing these through the end of this year. We are expecting our the second half of our first article items to approve for production at the end of this week. So we're going to be getting production about 2 weeks after that. So you'll start seeing these hit the market in October. We're starting with the Katana molded, which would be the Gen 3 Katana, and the Manticore molded. And then after that, we will have the Samurai finally coming out. We're doing a respin on the circuit board system for that. It's been a long time coming. That wasn't a super high priority project, but we're finally bringing that to the end of the finish line as well. For those of you not familiar, the Samurai is a full featured system with all the same features as a Manticore, except the manual gain is on the battery pack. So is the power switch and the IR illuminator switch. What that does is it creates a more balanced system that brings weight off the front of the goggle and allows you to have a full feature suite. The Manticore R and Katana R are already on the market. They've been doing quite well. They are essentially exactly the same as the molded systems internally. So the electronics are the same, the wiring is all the same, features are all the same, controls are all the same. The difference is being the material that the housing is made of. There's a significant weight reduction and a cost reduction, so the price is lower. The Katana molded is coming in lower priced to the consumer than the Gen 2 3D printed one. So this is injection molded with a material that is equivalent in strength to 6061 aluminum. The yield strength of the material, for those of you out there that are familiar with material science, is about 40,000 pounds per square inch, or 40 KSI of yield strength, which is quite strong for a polymer. We drop tested these extensively. Our final string of testing, we did 14 drops from 6 feet on a concrete floor, and then we ran it over twice with a full-size pickup truck and had zero damage whatsoever to the housing. We had some scuff marks and things like that you'd get just from abrasion, but no cracking, no failure of any purge points, no electronic failures. It performed quite well. So we're very excited about that. The Katana, to show you the weight savings, you're at about a little over 15 and a half ounces. Sorry, I used American units. We're about 15 and a half ounces on the Katana ruggedized with lightweight optics. The Katana molded is 13.8 ounces with the same optics.
For context, the PVS-14, like standard mil spec PVS-14, you're about 360, 350-ish. So you're talking about a full binocular system with lightweight optics weighing in just a little over a single PVS-14 with the J-arm. So that's quite impressive. And I don't know if you guys can see this. We'll probably cut to some B-roll, but the material is actually very nice. Nice matte black finish, not shiny or anything like that. And you can tell, we were actually playing around with it earlier in the day, and there's no pod flex or anything like that. Same rugged reliability that you've come to expect from the Katana R, but as Jeff said, just in a more lightweight, budget-friendlier option if you don't necessarily require that additional rugged strength of 7075 T6 aluminum.
I know a lot of companies, including us, advertise the different materials and specs. So aluminum is not just aluminum. 7075 T6 versus 6061 T6, which are the two most common. The difference is 40 KSI, or 40,000 pounds per square inch of yield strength, versus 70,000 pounds per square inch. So there's a significant difference in strength. So pay attention when people are advertising. Look up what that material is so you can understand the differences. Because just saying aluminum generically is not adequate for understanding the strength of a product. So when we say that this aluminum system is equivalent in strength to aluminum, we're saying 6061 specifically, which is still quite strong. For comparison, the original 3D printed version of the Katana, the material strength of that is 7,000 pounds per square inch. So there's significant increase in strength. And we were able to achieve some pretty durable systems with the MJF nylon that we were using for those systems, and because of the geometric design, we were able to achieve some pretty good performance, outperforming a lot of the existing polymer systems that are out there that are using traditional injection molding. We did our research and took a long time to find the polymer we wanted to use. We found a good stable polymer that's environmentally stable, that is temperature stable, and can take a beating. And it's a very, very good material. We're very excited to finally have, what we think is the culmination of, the 5 years we've been working on the Katana and all of our other binoculars, what it should be. And this is where, I think the final stage for this system. Mm-hmm. And the price for the housing is $1,550 US, which is a cost reduction over the original version.
And one thing I just wanted to also point out was with the introduction of this third gen of Katana, the Gen 2 and Gen 1 were fairly basic, but right now for the Gen 3, am I correct in saying you actually get a low battery indicator as well?
Yes, so we have made changes to the internals of the system as well. So it's the same as the Katana ruggedized. It has a circuit protected circuit board on board. The pods each have their own low battery indicator in them. It also allows you to power the system on and off if you have a battery pack via the power button on the front now, which the original Gen 2 and Gen 1 could not do. You can also now run a battery on board. Well, you have to run a battery on board now because of the way that the circuit is set up. To enable you to turn the power on and off through the push button with a battery pack, you have to have a battery on board. When a battery pack is plugged in, it will favor the battery pack until it dies and then switch to the onboard automatically. So you won't see, a cutoff in the function. Mm-hmm. But you can unplug the battery and then it'll automatically switch over and run off the onboard battery.
Yeah, that's the question probably going to get asked a lot. Like, if you have that battery in there and the battery pack, what happens if, your battery pack dies or anything? It'll automatically switch over. You don't need to worry about like your image coming in and out.
Another thing is you don't have to stick to CR123A if you're running tandem anymore. So battery on board and the outboard battery can be AA or AAA or whatever. The onboard battery will be CR123, as it always has been. It won't work with AA or AAA, not at this time anyway. But you'll be able to turn your power on and off on your battery pack, but because there's an onboard battery, it will continue to run. So you can just power on and off via the button and not even have to worry about the battery pack. And there's no parasitic drain because it's completely cutting the circuit out.
One last thing I wanted to just quickly touch on is the fact that the Katanas and the Manticores all come with they come standard now with the option to accept an outboard battery via a AA-B LiMo plug. Before, I think with the Gen 2 and Gen 1, the LiMo port was kind of a separate option, but now they all just out of the box, like every single one you get will have the ability to accept offboard power. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, the only option now is what color do you want?
Right.
They're all the same.
Black, FDE, and OD, right?
That's correct, yes. There will be no coating on the injection molded version for the black. Mm-hmm. When you go to OD or Coyote, those are Cerakote.
Right.
Same thing with the aluminum, those are anodized black. Mm-hmm. But you'll get a Cerakote finish if you get the colored versions. There will be wraps coming out and everything else like all of our other stuff. We're maintaining waterproof. Obviously these are all waterproof systems. You can swim with them. Go in the rain, whatever, it doesn't matter. The IPD stops they're the same design, but we've fine-tuned it, so now they're quite reliable. They work quite well. We haven't really had issues with these at all. We are now filling in the screw hole with a material so that people don't torque those mistakenly, because the inner screws are what adjust the tension on the pod. So we're still allowing customers to adjust their tension to what they want, but the IPD stops are set at the factory, and as long as they remain set from the factory, they function quite well.
Yeah.
It's, for those that aren't familiar, it's a toolless design, hands-free, essentially, so you rotate the pods up to reset them, and you bring it down till it hits the stop, and then you force it into the position you want, and then it maintains that position unless you force it to overcome it. That's right. It's a soft stop, if you will, but it is hard enough that you feel it, oh, okay, that's the stop. Mm-hmm. But if you were to run into something or hit something, it'll give. It won't damage anything. You just reset it and go back. So it's also optional in the sense that if you really didn't want them, you can dig out that material and remove them. But over-torquing them is an issue because people were snapping the screw holes.
Yeah, one also thing I wanted to just point out is with other systems you might have an external IPD screw. Those tend to sometimes snag, and I've seen some goggles where the knob is just bent.
Yep. Yeah, that's
it. Kind of stop working, which is not ideal. Whereas this one, it's kind of it's all integrated.
You'll see a lot more promotions happening. Dealers are going to start receiving samples of these, so you're going to start seeing promotions coming from them. We wanted to wait until we were ready to actually launch this system to start announcing it and be like, okay, yeah, this is actually going to be for sale very soon, not in 6 months. The Manticore molded, same idea. It's exactly the same thing internally, same features and functions as the Manticore ruggedized, but lighter weight, same durability as the new molded katana. And it's going to be easy to manufacture, fast to manufacture. You know, the lower price point, I think it's about $300 less than the aluminum version. So it's not that crazy of a difference for those who want that added ruggedness. But again, you're getting about 1.5 ounces of weight savings.
And like, and by the way, just for those of you at home, you know, $300 doesn't seem like a lot, but as an example, like $300 could get you like a mount as an example, right? Like get you a nice mount as opposed to, you know, something like that's a replica or whatever, right? Or you put it towards like a nice IR light or a nice like a night vision compatible red dot, whatever.
But that's about it for these. You know, the Gen 2 katana is obviously getting, you know, replaced with the Gen 3.
Let's shift gears over to quads, Panos.
Sure.
So for those of you who have GPMVGs, the Chimera bridge has been out for some time now. They've also gone through several design iterations over the last year.
Yep.
Basically now, feel free to jump in, but now they have detents. So when you raise and lower the actual panos, they'll actually lock into place. I believe there's also a micro adjustment. I'll cut to some B-roll here as well, where you can, you know, adjust like exactly how much like the actual horizontal level is. And I think you mentioned earlier that these shoes, where the actual optical pods will slide into, these will now
right here. These are aluminum.
That's right. They'll also be aluminum. So some added rigidity, durability, etc. there.
The polymer ones work fine. The aluminum was an ask from some members of the Special Forces community. They were worried about the pods popping off. Mm-hmm. If, you know, under a significant impact because of the, you know, the polymer being able to flex a little bit. Right. The original shoe on the GPMVG 18 is polymer as well, but just for that little added ruggedness, that's made of aluminum now as well. Yeah. Oh. So the original version of this bridge that came out, we released a few of them to special people who, you know, purchased it. The bridge and the arms were made of polymer. Right. Now the arms are made of aluminum. It previously did not have a detent, so it detents in the up position. Yep. And detents in the down position, so you only have 2 positions there. That was an ask for, you know, if you're running or moving or you have a significant impact on this, like if you're parachuting, and, you know, the force exerted on this when the chute opens is a lot. You don't want this slamming down if you have it stowed up. So that's the ask for the detent. Those are set at the factory. Those don't adjust. They stay as they are. You can adjust your tension still on the pods. We changed the tensioner from aluminum to stainless steel as well, so you can get a lot more tension on these. And now because the bridge is aluminum, you can, you know, it's not an insert that's heat set in. You can put quite a bit more on these. Since these are heavier, you need more force to hold these up. But I mean, they hold up pretty good.
Yeah, it's hard to convey this on camera, but basically I'm kind of articulating these as Jeff is talking. It feels very, very good.
It went through 3 or 4 iterations to get that detent right. I tried a whole bunch of different versions, and this is what we came up with. And you'll see, so this is the version that we're selling commercially. This version is...
Well, it lost the little tail. I remember
this used to have no more tail coming out the back. Now it's a
double OP
Lima port on the bottom. So that's compatible with, you know, same with all of our other product lines. It's a much smaller port. If you have a, you know, you're going to use your original GPMVG 18 battery pack, we have a cable that goes to the PNVD 4-pin Fisher connector that will plug right into this and to their battery pack. Or if you buy a bat pack, you can buy it with that plug so you can have the ability to turn the battery pack on and off if you wish and use it with other systems too. But it's reverse compatible either way. And then you have your onboard power button, which we had before. It turns off the pod when you stow it up like this. It actually has the same circuit board that's in the Katana. And, you know,
low battery indicator?
No low battery indicator.
Okay.
We can't feed that into the GPMVG, unfortunately. We're
stuck
stuck to what's on here.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, our goggle will have, we have the freedom to do whatever we want with that. Eventually, we'll have a manual gain version of that down the road. Yeah. That's a lot more that goes into developing something like that than the bridge system. But in the meantime, while we're working on that, we're able to iterate this and improve this. And
Well,
this is where it's
similar
gonna
to the
stay.
Katana and the Katana R, like this also feels like a much more refined product since the last time we saw this.
Yeah, and this, I think, is, I'm fairly confident this is where it's going to stay.
Yeah.
This is, the matured version of this system. It's completely waterproof. You can utilize this in all weather. And we've had very good feedback from the Special Forces community on this. We've moved our lanyard points up so that it's, they can get more tension on these because it's sitting further forward. And they can use it with is it Ops Core that makes the shroud that has the bungees in it?
Yeah. The built-in shroud.
And so that, they can utilize that. You got your IPD adjustments and stuff, all what everybody's used to on this. And then I know people are going to ask about this, but there is an onboard battery version, but this was specially developed for the Special Forces community. This is something that at this time we're not releasing to the general public.
For those of you who are not as familiar with the GPNVG, it comes out of the box like just a straight bridge, and you need to run offboard power. So basically, the current generation of the Chimera bridge sort of copies that design language with the power button and the offboard battery. But what Jeff is mentioning here is this specific one actually has an onboard CR123 in the middle, so it's kind of borrows the similar concept as Katana, with the CR123 on board giving 10 to
12 hours of
of onboard battery time for quads. So
if it's cold, it'll probably be a little less than that. But.
Right. And then also it has at least for this, what I'm holding in my hand, it's got a Fisher port.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got a Fisher port, so if you have the existing cold-weather battery pack, it'll just plug right in.
It's also designed specifically for the 90-degree Fisher port that comes with the GPMVG 18 to sit at an angle, so that they can you can run it properly and stay completely out of the way. This was specially developed. This bridge here
may not be available for sale.
Yeah, exactly.
It exists, at least here.
There's a potential future where it could become available, but this is equal in weight to the original bridge. This one is a weight savings. Right. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but this is lighter, and it's all aluminum construction and with all these features.
Yeah, so if you guys at home have like a set of GPMVGs and want to, and there's multiple advantages of having it be
or the Lindu,
right? They also
or an Anvis 10.
Sorry, Lindu
Anvis 10.
Anvis 10,
well,
right?
Yes.
So you do Lindu's Anvis 10. And you guys make the one for Lindu. Is the shoes the same for the Pro
They're
and
the
regular?
same. It's
right.
interchangeable.
So if you have like the Gen 1 Lindu QT and VG as well as the Pro one, that'll also work. So you can,
this one's the Pro. And it's the exact same thing as this, just with a different shoe.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
No, it's not interchangeable, so you can't.
That was what I was going to ask.
Yeah, you need a different bridge for each system. Those run about 2,500 MSRP. So, I mean, it's expensive, but it is a low volume.
Well, compared to the cost.
Into doing it, yeah. Well, yes, exactly. And I know people are going to ask, where's the Chimera full system? It is still being developed and worked on. Right now, it is still optics that are in the air. It's nearing completion. We are expecting to have a fully functioning prototype in October, finally. So those Redditors and stuff saying that it's vaporware, it is definitely not vaporware. That system is coming. We want that to have the best optics it can have. We want it to have a competitive field of view. We want it to be lighter weight. It is an all aluminum construction.
So one thing to clarify, when Jeff says all aluminum construction, it's literally all aluminum, right? So as an example, right now the GPMVG 18 has polymer pods, but the Chimera, the full Chimera with the Chimera's own pods, this will be aluminum as well.
Yes. And still competitively priced. We are still targeted at 8,500 MSRP with the optics included. No image tubes. So your starting price is roughly 14 to 15,000 depending on the image tubes that you install, and that's highly competitive for a panoramic goggle.
Yeah.
You're talking about $3,000 more than a 31 Alpha. It comes with the Chimera bridge. It's the same bridge as the GPMVG 18, so those are actually interchangeable shoes. The idea there is for agencies who are purchasing the bridge to upgrade their GPMVGs, once their GPMVG is out of service, they can then upgrade to our pods, and then they can have whatever image tubes they want in there.
Right.
And it can be serviced out of country instead of in country. So these are EAR 99 products, so they can be exported. And
that's important for us.
Yes, exactly. And the housing can be imported back in for service and back out if necessary. The tubes can be easily be removed, and you can put whatever tubes you want in there. And just to say, all of our housings are EAR 99. For people who don't know or aren't aware, essentially BIS has jurisdiction over night vision housings and night vision kits. Anything involving image tubes falls under ITAR.
Right.
Companies still should go out and get a letter, stating this and clearing their product for export, which we have done and gone through with that whole thing years ago. Night vision housings, at least all of ours, are ER 99.
Right.
So that makes, for those in other countries who are interested, especially for LE or military, they can get samples and they can evaluate them and they can have image tubes installed outside of the US.
Right.
We design our stuff so that it can be built by the end user. But there's a lot more to building night vision than just putting the tubes in and the optics in. It needs to be clean. You want to be able to purge it to make sure it's sealed properly. You want to make sure you know how to install the image tubes properly, how to collimate them. Collimation is extremely important.
Well, especially for quads.
Yeah, especially quads. So I recommend that you go through a dealer than to buy a housing and build it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a good adult Lego learning experience, but to extract the most, I think,
I mean, I started as a DIY.
100%.
I built myself,
right?
yeah.
But, just like that's how you learn. But, if you want to kind of learn as you continue to go, like just know that there is some nuance to putting this together properly and getting the most value out of the parts you're going to buy. So I think the last kind of like cherry on the top is
the mount, which I know a lot of people are probably going to ask about this too. So this is...
What are we calling this?
I wish Nick was in here because he should talk about this. Nick designed this and he's been doing a very good
Call
job.
it Nick's mount for
Nick's
now.
So this is called the Alpha mount.
Oh, sorry. There is a name for it.
We joked about calling it the Nix mount, but the funny thing is there's another system called the Nix. So we didn't do that. Now the cool thing about this mount is it is, and I'm going to compare it to a G24 because a lot of people are familiar with that. It's half the weight of a G24.
Half.
It still has breakaway.
So the current gen with the longer travel arm.
The G24L.
Not light, the regular. That's incredible. It's
yes.
half. Yeah, okay.
It has a breakaway. You'll be able to actually configure this into 3 different versions, or we could. So you can do it as a detented down and detented up, force to overcome without a button. Initially, and the planned release of this is with a button here. This one just isn't installed. This is a prototype of it. So you press the button to release it so that it can move, but it's still detented down. What that does is it gets rid of the slop that you get normally in a mount. If you're familiar with the low stow from Neurodos, that is a very crisp, nice lock. It doesn't have any play in it. We wanted it to be that good, but we also wanted it to have a button for a lockout. The button you depress, it releases the lock. Now the detent is holding it down. You just force it up, it snaps in, let go, and it locks up. Yes, it's a hybrid, and it locks up.
Right.
You let go, and it's locked in the up position. You can't pull it down. You press it, it's detented up. You just pull it down, let go. You don't have to hold it in the whole time. You just have to hold it and then move it out of that position. Then you can let go and it'll snap in. Now, the other iterations of or versions of this, you can have it configured so that it's detented up and locked down, and you press it and then overcome the detent. So you can just pull it down.
It's like the opposite of KDEX.
Or you could do what a KDEX is.
Right.
So you can do either or. You
But
can
it's
do
like-
locked up or locked down, one or the other, and the other half is just detented. So you force it up and it locks up. You push a button to pull it down.
Right. But is that set from the factory, or can users configure these different...
It will have to be set from the factory.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But initially, out of the gate, we're going to release it with the latch, push the button, and then with the detent in the 2 positions. It has full travel. You push a button here, and it travels back and forward. And then same thing here, you push a button and it moves up and down. And then you have your tilt up and down. This one's a little loose, so I'm not showing it right now. The screw's not tightened all the way. And then the last cool feature that is built into it already. You see those 2 holes?
Yeah.
Those are for pogo pins.
Right.
And what we will eventually release, we can only do so much at a time, but we're making it so that this is backwards compatible. So there's a opening in the top of our dovetail that has conveniently always been there.
I thought that
and
was
conveniently a space.
Like
it's for weight.
Savings.
It is. But use what you got.
Right.
There's a space underneath all of these too. That is enough space and enough room, and we spaced out this to be just enough and in the right position to fit through there. So you can take this off. You buy an adapter that plugs into your power port, and the cable will run around and sit up in here, and then you put this back on. Now you have a hot shoe adapter for all of your systems.
Right.
And what happens is when you plug it in here, the power is running to these two pogo pins, and your plug is now here in the back.
Yeah.
So your mount stays on your helmet. You would take your goggles off.
Yeah.
It's detached. You don't have a cable or anything to worry about.
Why this is important is like you'll notice that when you set up your helmet and you plug your battery, your cable in, everything's great. You rock it, and then when you rock it up, your cable is now kind of at a weird angle, or just kind of like it's kind of hanging.
Depending on what product you have, because we specifically put ours under here. So you
Right,
can run
right.
it
This
through
one's
the
just set
mount.
up for.
But
basically, yeah. So that's the big advantage of having something where it plugs into the mount itself is that everything stays kind of stowed very nice and tight to the actual helmet itself, and then your goggle remains like snag free essentially no matter what position it's in. Right?
That's
so
exactly
that's
it, yeah.
essentially I like that a lot actually.
and then when you go to remove it, you don't have to worry about detaching the cable. Or if your night vision gets detached for some reason,
Yeah.
it doesn't rip the cable and destroy your connections.
Right.
Which would be a service. You have to send it in and get it repaired,
Yeah.
typically when that happens. Now, the hot shoe is not a new concept. That's been done by other companies as well. Neurotis has done it, Wilcox has done it. And no one has ever released it to the commercial market. So we're like, well, why not? So we did it. It's not, it's something that won't be included in the first mount we release. It's something that can be upgraded in the new mount, or in that mount. It's going to be included, all the channels and everything that need. And then we will release an option so that you can get it as powered or non-powered. Once we have that
I think that's
finished and
super
complete.
cool. Like it's like modern ball detent.
Now, it's not going to be user upgradable. It'll have to be sent in for us to do it because
about
it
the mount
requires
or-
disassembling.
The mount.
Yeah. So if you want to convert this to powered,
Yeah.
it'll come like this
Right.
with the features. So the way we design things is trying to make it so that we can produce all the same parts. You're streamlining production for multiple different systems. So all the parts are the same, which makes it more of a challenge to do this and harder because you're putting yourself in a box. But at the end of the day, once you do that, you have a better product because you now made something modular that can be multiple things. And I will tell you, mounts are not cheap. So making this, it is US made, is more expensive than we expected it to be. We were trying to be as cost effective and affordable as possible, keeping the consumer in mind and the economy. It's still going to come in at competitive prices below what competitors
Comparable
are selling
market
at. But it's going to be, and it won't be super far. You're not talking like $200 less, but you're talking like $50 to $100 less. So
And sorry, one question is the retrofit for the actual goggle itself. Could that be like a user?
users can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they undo these 3 screws, pop it off, plug it in, stick it under there, put the screws on, they're done.
Cool.
Yeah, that's something that they could purchase.
Very
Down the road, the ultimate goal is to have it integrated into the
I mean,
goggles.
you said it was like not a new concept, but it's like for the commercial civilian market, this is pretty revolutionary, honestly.
Well, yeah, for that's what I mean. So for the consumer market, yeah, absolutely. For the retrofit, eventually down the road, we want to have it integrated into the goggle. I don't know how far down the road that is, or if that's going to come to fruition because the adapter might just be enough. But if it's integrated into the goggle, that will allow you to have both a plug, if you're running it on a different mount, the onboard battery, and the hot shoe option. So it's versatile. And there's a potential where, depending on if other goggles have the space for us to make a hot shoe for it and plug into their battery pack or their battery port, they could use the hot shoe mount. And this will also be able to be used as a normal mount too. If you don't have a hot shoe goggle, you can use it as a normal mount. But hopefully making adapters to retrofit other, goggles that aren't Nocturne products.
It's pretty generous.
So trying to not make it proprietary.
Right.
It's proprietary to a degree, but it accepts a standard dovetail shoe. But yeah,
So when is these like the base version going to be available roughly?
I know we keep pushing timelines and stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately, we get promised dates from vendors, and then we announce, hey, this product's going to be out, and then there's delays, or that we found issues with the design that we didn't expect, and then we have to make changes. So the track we're on right now, we are receiving the next iteration, final version of this week. And when we put the parts together, as long as the detent works, because we had to iterate the detent, we wanted it to be a nice, strong lockup. This one is not as strong as the real one will be. And this one's pretty decent. But it'll be very close to this. All we got to do is make sure it doesn't wear and that the lockup is what we want it to be. And we're pretty confident that this is the one. This is the third iteration. We'll be going right into production, and you'll see these at the end of the year, and they'll be available.
And just so you guys understand, like, you know, manufacturing a completely new product is not as straightforward as it seems, right? Like, this is fair. There's a lot of parts here, right? There's a lot of parts. They have to be refined, and as Jeff said, you know, make sure you're releasing a quality product. They'll last for years and years, right? You don't want to buy
Still a
one
life
mount.
warranty.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to buy a mount and then it's like it's good for a year, and then you got to buy another mount that's another 150. Or like,
Yeah,
for
we
some
don't want it to
knockoffs
wear
that
out.
are-
That's the thing. We want it to
Exactly.
last. And if you do break it, that you can count on the warranty. That we always have lifetime warranty on our
right.
stuff.
Lifetime warranty on like basically everything on this table,
Yep.
right? So
And lifetime, people ask, well, is it limited lifetime? No, it's if it breaks, we will replace it.
yeah,
And people are going to ask about the katanas, I'm sure. The Gen 2 katanas still carry their warranty. The Gen 1 katanas still carry their warranty. We repair them. And people don't have to worry about that. As long as we're a company and people continue to support us, we will continue to support the community.
great.
I think that's it for Q4.
Yeah.
What people can
in
expect.
the Q1, right? So just to recap, out now, Katana R, Manticore R, coming in probably about you said about a month or so.
Yep.
For the polymer katana and polymer Manticore, Samurai.
End of
Q1,
year, end of
Q1.
Q4, beginning Q1, I think is
You'll
safe.
probably see it at SHOT Show actually.
Yeah.
And then the full
for the
Chimera,
third time in a row.
maybe SHOT Show, but obviously these guys
so
are working hard.
This is available now.
That's available. Yeah, the bridge
This
is
is
available
available
now.
now.
The
This is in
full
production.
Chimera is
Actually, this is available with all these updates.
right.
So that's
Right.
current production. SHOT Show's coming, so we are going to have some new stuff.
You guys already
at
signed up for
Show.
SHOT Show, right? You guys
Of course.
have a booth. Cool. Great.
Of course.
Bigger
Our booth
this
has
year?
moved. So
has
when
moved.
people are going to SHOT Show, we're in the same area, but we're not in the same room. I think we're 1 or 2 rooms over, and we're like partway down. It's a little bit bigger booth. We had an
be there.
opportunity for a bigger booth, so
Good.
we took that opportunity. But we will have new stuff at SHOT Show that people can come check out. It won't be stuff that's ready. It's stuff we're going to be announcing. Like usual, we announce a new product. Hey, this is what's coming, so that you can expect it. Any other questions? We can talk about the facility or anything like that.
We're
or
gonna cut to some
improvements.
B-roll where we kind of go through the actual facility. There's probably certain things that you want to show or not show. So
Yeah, I mean, there's some processes and stuff we do here, but
why don't we do like a wrapper now while we're here?
okay, we recently moved from a 3,000 square foot facility to an 11,600 square foot facility. We're opening a store. It will be a storefront here in New Hampshire. It's in Raymond, New Hampshire, where people can come and try our products in person. We will be selling high-end gear and equipment. It'll be like a boutique. So we're going
You
to
guys
carry
are
a
just-
lot of big names.
And you guys are just down the street from the SIG.
Say the Experience Center, yes.
Right.
So it's about a 10-minute drive from there. Same road, actually. That's just 2 towns over. So that is going to be opening up in the next couple months here. And so that is a great place, a great way for people that are in the area or traveling through to come visit us, try out our equipment. They can try out, we're going to stock different kinds of lasers, different kind of helmets, helmet attachments,
Yeah. Then you talked
night
about
vision related stuff.
right, like so essentially like modern equipment.
Yes, that
know,
you can't
premium
find
brands.
anywhere else. There's a lot of gun stores around. You can find whatever gun you want, whatever ammo you want.
Yeah.
It detracts from the equipment, which is the rest of what you need. So it's a night vision focused equipment store that we won't have an online presence. It'll be in store only. So the kind of gear that'll be available is stuff that you typically can only buy online and never get to actually try. So we wanted to have something that stands out and is different than what's in the area. And from what I know, there's nothing in the Northeast like that, at least in the U.S. And as far as the manufacturing goes, we've expanded. We are going to be here for a very long time. We've invested in this building, and it allows us to expand as we grow to meet the demand, so that we don't have the kinds of shortages we've had in the past, or the lead times that we've had. We've significantly improved lead times. We've improved our quality control. We've increased our staff as we grow. We're stepping out of just being a startup to being a full-fledged manufacturing
mature
company.
night vision
Yeah,
maker.
exactly. And it's thanks to the consumers and supporters like you guys and all of our other dealers who have enabled this, and we're hugely in debt and thankful that we've had the amount of support and success that we've had. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for the future. I don't know when we will actually have it, but I mean, we're talking like as we grow, fusion stuff, new technology, some really cool ideas and things that we want to grow and expand into. But yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a lot of fun, and this is the second time we've had you visit. And from the first time to here,
Yeah,
it's a huge difference.
of course. Yeah. So I think that wraps it up for this video. Thank you again, Jeff, for hosting us. Thank you for allowing us to visit your beautiful new facility.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Awesome. Hopefully that was
recording.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, it was recording.